goes on inside the game.
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep.
Edwards has it. 10-5, touchdown.
On the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Ball looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
Where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network.
How many times have you heard a song with the phrase, you don't know what you got till it's gone? That's kind of how I felt yesterday. Welcome, everybody, to the Braylon Edwards Show. Glad you're with us on Woodward Sports. Kool-Aid is there in the house and ready to do double duty. And the man, Braylon Edwards, to my right. This is awesome stuff. I'm glad to be back. I will admit, I played in the Ted Lindsay golf outing at Oakland University yesterday. That's why I wasn't here. It was a prior commitment.
Yeah.
Wish you were there. I'm sure you would have
Same.
scored better than I. Gorgeous day, gorgeous track.
19 under. Don't be too humble now. 19 under is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't all me, but it helps to play with some youngins who can hit the ball close to the way you hit the ball. I mean, we had a couple of guys in our group who could hit about 200 or 280 yards or so. So that makes things a little bit easier. But I had an absolute blast. But I'm even happier to be back here because I always have fun here. How was the day yesterday?
Yesterday was good. You know, Anson filled in over there, and we had some conversations, some deep conversation. I asked him to rank after week one, you know, the NFC North. And I understand it's only week one. I'm not saying that this is in any way, shape, fashion, or form a reflection of what the rest of the season is. He ranked his. I disagreed. It led to some fun, entertaining TV, if you will. But other than that, we had a good conversation. I miss you to talk about some of this NFL stuff that we will talk about today. Yankees, Tigers last night. We'll get into that a little bit. Tigers, a big story today. Excited to talk about that. My guy Kool-Aid over here, man. I got to give you some love before the show starts, man. He's doing double duty today. He will be in both booths. So shout out to Kool-Aid, man. Look, you out here working like a Jamaican, like they used to say in Living Color. You got all the jobs, man. All the jobs. But appreciate you, brother. But we're excited to rock and roll. It's some good topics. It's some great conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I got some questions. You have some questions, and we're ready to rock and roll with you guys.
I'm really excited for it. By the way, Kool-Aid does all this with a smile on his face. There's a lot of people who do double duty, but yes, I said duty. Yes, I said duty.
You said duty.
But they do it with a scowl on their face. Not Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you know what, man. And welcome back, Shep,
you,
as well, man. It's good to have you back with the brothers.
Yeah, likewise. It's always an honor to be here. So you mentioned the Tigers, a blowout win over New York yesterday.
Oh, felt good.
Yeah, it did feel pretty good.
Was that the longest seventh inning ever?
It felt like it, but in a good way. When you send 14 batters to the plate, the first 9 reach base.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's I would say it's not a statement game by any stretch, but it's not like it proves to you that you can play with the big boys. They've already proven that. If that's what you need last night, one win at Yankee Stadium in a blowout win to show that they can play with the big boys, then you haven't watched them all season long. But it is, at this time of the year, a really refreshing way to watch this team's offense explode a little bit, but maybe more importantly, watch Casey Mize, I know it was only 6 innings, do something with 8 strikeouts and get the 14th win of the year.
So I definitely was going to agree with you. I fully understand exactly where you're at. I will say this. It was good to see them when New York press, Judge gets the home run, they're playing well, Tigers respond. It was good to see them be able to respond on the road. Mm-hmm. For whatever that's worth, they respond. Now, the 7th inning, it happens. You just throw those. I told you, we played against the Patriots and got beat 49-3. Sometimes it just happens, but we knew we were still a good team. So do the New York Yankees. That Casey Mize thing was something I paid attention to. That's something that I really enjoyed. He was finding his pitches, painting those corners. He got a little help by the ump. We're not hating. Got a little help by the ump on some of those. I was like, oh, is that the ghost of Angel out there? Is that the ghost of Angel out there? But
the ghost of Angel Fernandez.
Hey, Angel Fernandez, because one of them was right there. I said, yeah, I can give him that. He can go either way. The other one, I said, whoa, that's about 2 balls out to the right. But it was fun to watch them be able to answer the bell, have some fun. Then once it got away, they just keep pouring it on. I like that part. They didn't ease up.
Right.
They kept pouring it on until the deal was done. So shout out to the Tigers. Good win for them.
Yeah, it was a really good one. Angel Hernandez or not. I mean, there are Parker Meadows with not just the 2-run blast, but another big RBI single, and then, of course, Kerry Carpenter doing what he did. I would remind people, and I don't know how much you take stock in wins, all right? So I think we all gravitate towards certain numbers that kind of feed our narrative.
Or certain teams. Like,
Or certain teams, right. Casey Mize has 14 wins. There's 4 guys in Major League Baseball, not the American League, but Major League Baseball, who have more wins than Casey Mize. So there's something to be said. You may not believe in it because, he only went 5 innings, threw 69 pitches, and got the win. Okay, understood. How much closer are you paying attention to Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Garrett Crochet, and Freddie Peralta? Because those are the guys who have more wins than Casey Mize.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting he's better, even though he was an all-star this year. All I'm asking you is what numbers matter most. And don't give me innings pitched, please, even though I was a big proponent of it, because I bring this up. You'll text me sometimes about Bob Gibson.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely
those stats
love
are
him, right?
unreal. We have to talk about that at the end of the show.
He's an absolute badass, okay?
He struck
love
out
him.
3 dudes with a broken tibia.
Yeah. What? Yeah, younger people can't really relate. But anyway, and I can't really either, considering I didn't see him a whole lot, but I at least saw video and watched the numbers. Yeah. All I'm saying is that at some point, we look at wins. Yeah. Today's pitchers, as you know, are not going more than 7 innings. You're lucky if you get 7 innings out of them. How do we accept that? We have to somehow, some way adapt and realize, hey, this is the way Major League Baseball is today. There's not many guys who are doing it more than, the 7-inning affair. And Casey Mize falls into that category, but at least he's getting wins.
Yeah, he's getting wins. Look, at the end of the day, if you want to point out the fact that a lot of times those losses, I think that's what it is. The wins a lot of times on his record, they come in spots where the Tigers are playing well. Everyone's pitching well. The hitting is going well. Those losses, a lot of times they happen when you need a pitcher to pull you out. You need a pitcher to show that you're the 3rd pitcher on the roster, and he sometimes isn't able to do that. But wins matter. Yeah. At 14 wins, it definitely matters. He went out there, A.J. Hinch, they got the guys together, Chris Fetter. It looked good last night. Now, I will pay attention to one number.
Okay.
We're going to pay attention to this number. Please don't mention Garrett Crochet again in the Cy Young chase as it relates to what Tarek Skubal is doing. Just wanted to throw that out there because Garrett Crochet was the guy challenging him for the Cy Young. Yeah. Please look at the numbers. They look very, very different. Very, very different.
In what sense? Because he's 15-5, 185 innings thrown so far. That's not bad for a guy who originally, when drafted by the White Sox, and he was the first member of that draft class out of Tennessee, hard-throwing lefty, who actually made it to the majors, but he was a bullpen arm for Tony La Russa at the time. Now he's a starter and a full-time starter. What numbers are you referring
Whip,
to?
ERA, strikeouts, and also I think Tarek Skubal, he's not even on this one list that I can't think of where Tarek Skubal's ahead by a landslide to every other pitcher in the MLB.
Yeah.
He's not even on that list. So
I agree with you. If you want to go strikeouts per 9, Crochet's ahead. I think Tarek Skubal is, for sure, the Cy Young Award winner. I don't think
10 plus wins, 10 plus strikeout wins or something like that, maybe.
It's 10 plus strikeouts, in a season so far is what it is. It's not even close. And look, they're both. When you've got a strikeout per 9 of 11.1, they're both there. Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet have the same, which is tied for the American League lead. Only Zach Wheeler and I believe Dylan Cease have a better one. If you look at WAR, Tarek Skubal's WAR blows everybody away.
Maybe this is the WAR that I'm looking at.
It's 6.6 for Tarek Skubal. It is 5.5 for Garrett Crochet. It's a really good debate for people in Boston. It's no need for a debate for people in Detroit because Tarek Skubal is the best pitcher on the planet, and most people should at least understand that. If I can at some point recognize that a hated rival of my team, Michael Jordan, is the best player. Walter Payton at the time was the best running back. And you notice I'm bringing up Chicago, okay?
100%.
If I can say that Jonathan Toews was the best player in the world while playing hockey for the Chicago Blackhawks, then I would hope people from outside the state of Michigan and the city of Detroit could say Tarek Skubal was the best pitcher on the planet. Everybody would want him at the top of their rotation.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's the third time somebody said that about a Detroit pitcher from Chicago. Denny McClain, Justin Verlander, and here's Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, it's a really good point. They may have said it about Max Scherzer, okay? They may have said it about Jack Morris.
I feel like Max was on his way. He was really good here, but it was like
he was really good here.
He was really true.
Yeah.
I think he was in Verlander's shadow a little bit in terms of the name, not the stats, but the name.
For sure.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me this. It was a good question yesterday while we were waiting on the tee box, because you have a tendency to do that once in a while in scrambles and these things.
I hate backups because that's when people get active with the questions and it takes you out of your game. Now I'm sitting here trying to figure out the answer to their question, and I'm like, oh wait, it's my turn again. Now I forgot what I was dialing into for the last 4 holes. Yeah, my bad. Sorry. I missed golf. I haven't played in 2 weeks.
So here, oh man, that stuns me. Here's
Football
what
season, baby.
Here's what they asked me. One game, okay, one game. Who would you have, Verlander or Skubal in Tigers history? And I said, well, are those the only 2 choices? Should I not also be considering Max Scherzer, Jack Morris, Denny McLain?
Denny McLain 68, and it ain't even close. Denny McLain, if he's 68, Denny McLain, yes, If he's 68, Denny McLain, I'm not taking anybody over him.
Yeah, if it's 1968 regular season Denny McLain, he wasn't great in the World Series. You're right. It's nowhere close. It's 31 wins, for God's sakes. It's 45
Never
starts.
will happen again.
Never happen again.
Yeah.
The starts that these guys made back then won't happen again either.
Yeah, true.
So, but I do think, and neither one of us know as much about Hal Newhouser, even though he won back-to-back Cy Youngs and back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah.
That's something Tarek Skubal's never going to do. I think I got in a little bit of a debate with one of the younger members of the Woodward sports family when they said that Tarek Skubal's the greatest pitcher the Tigers have ever had. And I know we like to be a little combustible at times, but I said you really need to make sure you're doing the research, because when you got Hal Newhouser winning he's a Hall of Famer and winning back-to-back MVPs, when you've got Denny McLain winning 31 games, Jack Morris throwing no-hitters and a lot of complete games, Justin Verlander winning MVPs.
But you know this younger generation, they're not interested in the resume. They're not interested in the work that someone put in before. They're interested in what's going on now. Because I guarantee you, Kool-Aid, if Cade Cunningham somehow finds his way to the MVP race at the end of the season and he finishes second or he finishes third, hell, if his name is even in the conversation at the end, you will have a large amount of fans in this city, all young, all millennials to Gen Z, saying that Cade Cunningham is the best Detroit Piston of all time.
You're right.
Because what happens is, what are they going to say? When's the last time a Piston has even been in the MVP running? Because Isaiah doesn't have an MVP, neither does Joe Dumars. Grant Hill didn't play long enough. Right. So you start talking MVP, that will be their justification. Who else was in the MVP race?
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Bro, you don't even need one in the MVP
Isaiah
race.
has been in the MVP
Just
race.
Go back to Blake Griffin. That era of people, they believe that Blake Griffin, they look at that 1 year he had, and they
broken.
go crazy over that year because of the stats that he put up. And it was his best season
I think Blake played. I gave more here than people thought.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did.
I'm setting Shep up.
He
Take
did.
the bait.
No, look, I actually,
but you're right.
I actually liked him. I did.
Okay,
I liked him a lot. I thought it was ill-advised to get him, but that doesn't mean I didn't appreciate his work ethic, his honesty after games, and so on and so forth. So I covered him quite a bit while he was here in Detroit, and I had no problem with him.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he's even close to the conversation among best Pistons. The player that we're losing sight of is John Mengel. No, I'm just kidding. The player we're losing sight of is Dave Bing.
Yeah.
Dave Bing is one of the greatest Pistons of all time.
Is.
Okay?
Mayor Bing, 100%.
and he was not only great with the Pistons, he was pretty damn good with Boston too.
Yeah.
Okay, when he moved on. So it's interesting you bring that up because, again, yesterday during the golf outing, there were a couple of people who were a little bit older, part of our group, and there were a couple of guys who were a little bit younger, a lot younger, quite honestly. And so one of the guys, Jim, kept saying, because I would hit first, so I let the big hitters hit, right? I try to find the middle of the fairway in a scramble, and then let the big hitters
go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. And he said, Shep, what a great leadoff guy are. You're like Steady Eddie Brinkman. And the young guys have no idea who Eddie Brinkman was.
I got you.
Of course.
I knew that's what they were saying.
And then we started talking about some of the old Tigers. They have no idea. So, and I literally said to them as I was teeing up a ball, I said, you guys realize there's something called the internet, right? I mean, you can always look back at some of the really good players And it doesn't have to be in Detroit, but the really good players in any sport to recognize just how good they were and maybe who you could compare them to.
How good was the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football? We didn't get a chance to talk about that. They get the late win, 21 points. J.J. McCarthy, first comeback win as a young quarterback. What did that game look like to you? We don't have to spend a lot of time talking about it, but we got into it a little bit last night, talking about what it looked like from, just the outside angle. What did the game look like to you?
Couple things that I recognize. First, and I love the overreaction as soon as he throws a pick six. It was great for my it was great for my fantasy defense, but I'm like, folks, you realize, people immediately, the game's too fast for him. What are you talking about? How are you this knee-jerk reaction? I oftentimes like to see people in adverse situations to see what they have. Because you know this better than I do. No athlete is going to be perfect all the time. So how do they handle when a game is going bad? And I thought J.J. McCarthy was not good, 44 yards of total offense in the first half, in the first three quarters. But in the fourth quarter, how do you argue with that?
Yeah.
The kid's got some bravado. He's got some moxie. He can run. He can spin it. He's got confidence in his arm. All those things against what we would have considered, I know they were without Jalen Johnson, but what we would have considered a very good defense. So that's what I noticed. The other thing I noticed was, Caleb Williams looked so comfortable, Braylon, on that, especially the first drive. Yeah. After that, I don't know what happened. I needed a Braylon breakdown to figure it out. But
I want to break down that J.J. McCarthy touchdown, the one to Justin Jefferson.
He absolutely fell apart.
Yeah.
And I thought that the pass to Aaron Jones was incredible too. But I don't know what the hell happened to Caleb Williams. Yeah. And then, I hate to admit this, but remember how we had that conversation about him painting his nails?
Yeah, I pointed it out when I was watching it.
I know, I'm watching it. I do have to remind people of this, though. Joe Namath actually did a TV commercial for pantyhose. Back in the day, remember when Joey Harrington played the piano?
Yeah.
And he got so much crap
Joey
in Detroit.
Blue Skies.
Remember that?
I remember that now.
Joe Burrow does it. It's cool. He did the same thing. No, we talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's national
Joe
champion.
Namath's in the Hall of Fame. People in New York love him. Outside of his I Want to Kiss You to Susie Colbert, everybody loves Joe Namath. He did pantyhose commercials where he put them on TV.
I mean, since you brought up my Jets, you know what I'm saying? I had to show you I was representing it there. The difference is one of those serves the interest of his back pocket, which is finance. The other one serves the interest of a personal vendetta, not a vendetta, but a personal agenda to this is what I want to do. Which is a distraction. This is attention.
That's fair.
Look at me. Joe was getting paid. I wouldn't have done it, but it was about money.
That is a look at me moment, but you're right. He's making bread.
100%.
Right. I get you. You're right.
Watching the game, this is what I saw. I love J.J. McCarthy. I know I talked to him a little bit in the DMs, before games to get a chance to just send some love, just positive vibes. No deep conversation, just, hey, man, go with God, and he always responds with a heart, love, whatever. You got to be able to stay involved and stay invested and have the mental fortitude to throw that pick and then last to the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. That's what you take from it. If you don't like Jay-Z or you don't think he's going to be the heir apparent, this is what you will respect about that game. He threw the pick six. He was able to rebound. He was able to stay in tune to the game. And once they got the ground game going, which is what the Lions will have to do this week against the Chicago Bears, once they switched out, they said Jordan Mason is the guy. We're going to run the ball with Jordan Mason. We'll pass the ball to Aaron Jones. They started to get some movement, and then they would start able to get some passes to Justin Jefferson, get some passes to T.J. Hockenson, get some passes to Aaron Jones out of the backfield, get him into a rhythm, let him get comfortable. Kevin O'Connell's on the field. He's getting him fired up, and he stayed into it, and he ends up 2 touchdown passes in the air, and then 2 touchdown passes, and then he rushed for a touchdown. In that run, you can see that he saw it the whole way. You can see that he made his mind up. It's going to be there. I'm going to trust it. And that looked good, man. That's why they felt comfortable with making the move from Sam Darnold. It has to get better. But to win in the end like that, to be able to stay in that game, that's dope. For Caleb, it looked great when it was scripted. But I'm going to give a little pushback to the people who say Caleb fell apart, he couldn't figure it out. That offensive line that they paid all that money for, all those experienced players, all those all-pro seasons, they had how many penalties? 8. had 12
Yeah.
as a team. They had 8 penalties, jumping off sides, holding the whole 9 yards. They are legitimately stalling drives. Like every time you get something going, how many times did Caleb get on the outside, make a move, and here's 15 yards, here's 10 yards, here's something taking them back. Now you're getting out of rhythm. So some of that had to do with experienced players that you brought in to protect them. Some of it was that, and some of it was some missed opportunities. Roma Dunze had 2 nice passes put on him and wasn't able to came up with it.
DJ Moore was wide open on
and that's a miss by Caleb.
Yeah.
That was a miss by him.
Yeah.
So there were some things. I think they will get better, but the physicality of both defenses is what I took away from that game, because Minnesota was coming. Grenard, Brian Flores,
Van Ginkel.
those guys. Van Ginkel is I'm not even gonna say that out loud. He is a monster.
He is a badass.
Because I used to say, oh, that's the Alex Anzalone of the Minnesota Vikings. No. Alex Anzalone is the Van Ginkel of the Detroit Lions.
I'd love to have Van Ginkel on my team. I think I think he is an awesome player.
And the
I
Bears
really do.
defense looked good, and also considering, like you said, they were missing 2 All-Pro players and 3 Pro Bowlers. So you're missing that. It's going to look a little different. Physicality is what I took from that game, and then Kevin O'Connell switching to Jordan Mason and getting him involved with the running game, because Aaron Jones just might not be what
Pretty
they're
good
gonna stick
coach.
with.
I agree with you. That's a great observation about Jordan Mason, that you want to find a different look there on your offensive backfield. We complained a lot that Dan Campbell didn't win Coach of the Year last year. Kevin O'Connell, at least in week 1, looked really good, making those adjustments. And look, there's something to be said for staying with somebody to, not that you would yank him, but staying with somebody and making them comfortable, putting them in positions for which they can succeed. How would you have felt as a veteran on that Vikings offense when J.J. McCarthy struggles the way he did in the first half and says at halftime to one of his linemen, "Don't worry about it, I got you"? Like, wait a minute. You haven't done anything to make you say, "I got you." Just show me first, okay? Now they believe, but going into that, how would you have felt if a young rookie like that comes out with that type of bravado?
I got to start here. If it's me, let's say it's me, so let's say I'm the Justin Jefferson in this situation. First conversation I'm going to have with Coach is before all of this transpired. When you're making a move that you're going to let Sam Darnold go, that's the conversation I'm having. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Why are you sure just as much?
100%. Why are you sure? That's actually perfectly said. Why are you sure that you're okay? Why are you sure that he's going to be okay? You see what we did last year, 14 wins, and we're right there. It's us in Detroit at this point. Are you sure? Whatever was reassured to Justin Jefferson, that now is enough for me. And then you put the C on his chest once he gets through training camp. Look what Kevin O'Connell has done in his short NFL career. Look at what he's done with the Minnesota Vikings. He has back-to-back seasons of 12-plus wins.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's done. And you look what he's done as an offensive coordinator. He knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
So that he's built trust. This new Vikings team, we talk about how much the Detroit Lions players trust Dan Campbell. They trust him over the last 3 years and what he's built. I think Minnesota is in the similar situation where they're building something special. Players trust it. So if this guy who I trust, I rock with Kevin O'Connell, the Coach of the Year, if he's telling me this, he's reassuring me, then I got to trust this guy until everyone or anyone can see that it's not the case.
Even I tip the cap to Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 years, seeing what this Viking team has done, despite who the quarterback has been, there's a lot of people who thought that these teams were going to wind up either 3rd or 4th in this division, and instead
They still might.
Over the last couple years, but
Yeah.
instead they really put heat on the top of the NFC North, and especially on the Detroit Lions last year. And you look at it this year, and that's where a little bit of my angst as it related to the Coach of the Year stuff, it's like if it's going to be a Kevin O'Connell, then you're a little bit more okay with that as a Detroit Lions fan, because what this guy's continued to do, you talk about identity, he has these Vikings looking like the old Vikings. As a Lions fan, I knew if their starting quarterback wasn't in, they were still going to come out here and work us, because on both sides of the ball, they had their
They've
game
always
plan
been
down pat,
physical.
and they've always been
I don't
physical.
care.
They've always
I
had
don't care if
the
it's
guys.
Alan Page or John Randall. It doesn't
Jared
matter.
Allen.
They have always been
Sheesh.
physical. The thing that I do have to wonder just a little bit about, though, is the reason I gave O'Connell his flowers a year ago, if you recall, is because, look, as much as I like Dan Campbell, and I like him a lot, and I respect the hell out of the coach that he is, I always felt like he had more talent than Minnesota did.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So I think for him to milk 14 wins out of a Sam Darnold-led offense a year ago stunned me. Here's the other thing I came away with, though, and this is probably unfair. Ben Johnson, the almighty, made some mistakes, and even said after the game the mistakes that he made. Okay, that's number one. And lost to a guy making his first ever start in the National Football League. We had two coordinators, and I'm not saying they're not important, so please don't read into this. All I want to bring up is we're railing on John Morton, to a certain extent Calvin Shepard, for what they didn't do against Green Bay. Ben Johnson couldn't beat a first-time start by, for all intents and purposes, a rookie quarterback. And Aaron Glenn lost to a 41-year-old who everybody thought should grab a wheelchair, a blanket, and a crossword puzzle every single night. Why? Why are people not making more of that? Of course, Aaron Glenn's team looked like they scored enough where they probably should have won. But the point is, he's a defensive guy, and the guy who's 41 years old can't drop back, at least in practice. That's all we saw. People are saying, please retire. He can't move. Throws 4 TD passes against you with no picks and leaves saying, like, hey, let me hear it, folks.
I think what happened with both of them is they're realizing that it's tough to be the head man and the OC and the DC. That's what they're both realizing. It's one thing when Aaron Glenn, all his job is to focus on is the defense. All the players that are getting hurt, it doesn't matter. I know how to control the defense. I know who's up next. I know what I want to run. I know what they're doing. I know the adjustments. Same thing for Ben Johnson offense. All I'm focusing on is Jared Goff, getting the ball down the field, keeping them off balance, switching up. Here's Jahmyr Gibbs. Here's David Montgomery. Oh, by the way, a little play action. Here's Sam Laporta. Now you got to worry about both sides of the ball. The special teams. Is the field goal unit going to get out there on time? When do I call the timeout? You got so many things going on the sideline. You can't even get to your bread and butter, which is the offense, which is why in the fourth quarter your offense collapsed. To your point.
Should I kick it into the end zone?
Should I? At the end of the day, they collapse, and that's something that they're going to have to learn to do. They're going to have to learn how to be the head man in the DC. I saw it firsthand when I was in Cleveland. Romeo Crennel, one of the best defensive minds the NFL has ever seen. This is the truth.
It's true.
His first year as a head coach was with me in Cleveland, 2005. He struggled to do both, be the head coach and also add his defensive prowess to the system, and he allowed somebody else to be defensive coordinator. Why, I don't know. Just a quick pivot. I've always loved offensive coordinators that are head coaches. You know why? Because they get to stay on the sideline with their guys. It's one thing when they're guys. It's one thing if J.J. McCarthy is in this game in Chicago. He's going through it. He's going through the ringer. And the only time he gets to see Kevin O'Connell was at halftime. No. He got to see Kevin O'Connell the whole game. Kevin O'Connell got to be there, put his hands on his helmet, talk to him, see eye to eye, keep him dialed in. It's a lot different when you have that human connection on the sideline. Sean McVay does it with Matt Stafford,
Kyle Shanahan,
Andy Reid, Sean Payton, the list goes on. When you have guys that can connect on the field with the player, it keeps them dialed in. It keeps them into the game, especially talking about younger players, younger quarterbacks.
So with that said, would you like to see John Morton move from the booth to the sideline like Ben Johnson would be? I know it's a personal choice, but why would you want him?
Shouldn't take that for Jared Goff. Jared Goff is a 10-year pro. It's time to be Jared Goff. You don't need somebody to hold your hand and put their helmet on you. It's more so for the younger guys when you're first getting started off. Jared Goff should be in the space where, if this is personal preference, then sure. But he should be in the space where he's good. He's locked and loaded. He's 10 years in. He's 2 head coaches. He's been to the Super Bowl. He has enough experience to where it doesn't matter. J.J. McCarthy's a young guy. He's young in that space. Having him was great when Patrick Mahomes first started. The last game of the season in year 2, here's Andy Reid standing up on the sideline. Even Matt Stafford, if we want to talk about older coaches, Matt Stafford figuring his way out through the Los Angeles Rams. They struggled early on. They almost lost to Seattle twice, and this is when Russell was starting to come down. Sean McVay's on that sideline. Sean McVay's able to dial into him, put his arm around him. Hey, remember Cabo? I told you we have some games like this, but figure it out. That stuff, it makes a difference. I love being able to talk to my wide receivers coach on the field. I love that they were always on the field because I need that from time to time.
If you think about it, as much as I love football, that is one of the wackiest things about the sport.
Yeah,
it's the only of the 4 majors anyway. It's the only sport where you have some coaches, that are not associated within that personal space of the players they're coaching. Hockey, the 3 coaches, they're back there. Basketball, they're on the bench. They've got now 19 when they used to have just 3, but they're all right there, okay? In baseball, they're all in the dugout. You may have some analytics guys, but they're in the back. They're not talking to your guys. They're relaying things to your coaching staff. They're in the dugout talking to you. Chris Fetter needs to have a conversation with Casey Mize.
Preaching.
He's right there, okay? Football, I can't if I had my choice, again, my choice, I would want to be able to talk with not just my quarterback, but with all my offensive players. And if I were every single coach, offensive line coach, wide receivers, I would want them all on the sidelines. Now, I might be missing something there because perhaps you see some things a lot better, and you can always talk to them and call them on the phone because it did work in the NFL for a long time. Joe Montana was talking to his coaches up in the booth.
He was talking to his wife.
Yeah, he talked to his
wife. He used to call his wife just to see if it works. But at the end of the day,
that's a great story.
It's very true. I love that he used to do that, though. Yeah. But, you're absolutely right. You look at this young quarterback looking. I'm not saying it should be everybody, but I think it works. Look at what J.J. McCarthy, the last 4 years of his existence as a quarterback, who's the guy he's been talking to all the time? It's none other than Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, talking to him, keeping him dialed in. It's been Jim Harbaugh's job to raise him as a quarterback for the last 3 years with the University of Michigan. And as soon as he gets here, what does Kevin O'Connell do? Do they win that game if Kevin O'Connell's in the booth and not on the field? I don't know. But does it help that he was on the field? You're damn right.
Yeah.
You're darn right, because who was the first person to see him on the sideline after the winning run for a touchdown? It was Kevin O'Connell.
Who's the first one to see him after he threw the pick?
It was Kevin O'Connell, who looked jacked up out of his mind. So it definitely works for them in Minnesota.
Why did it work for Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan like right away? Even in their first head coaching gigs, it seemed to work for them right away. How can they make that transition then? And they're being the head coach and they're being the OC, and they're calling the plays.
Well, I think Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan's father is none other than two-time Super Bowl winning coach Mike Shanahan.
Yeah.
So that kind of comes with the territory. He learned under that tutelage and having that and being able to balance both, because Mike Shanahan is also an offensive coordinator, and his offense was the Denver Broncos. And then Sean McVay is an extension of Kyle Shanahan. He learned up under Mike Shanahan and then Kyle Shanahan. So I think they learn how to do both at a very young age because of his father, Mike Shanahan. Yeah. So and they've taken that with them.
Right. So
and he coached Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell learned under Sean McVay, who learned under Kyle Shanahan. So I think that tree is pretty much showing you it's legit.
It's fascinating to me. Like Cliff Kingsbury's done a pretty good job as an OC in Washington.
Yeah,
right?
He has.
When he was the head coach in Arizona, he was also calling the plays. It wasn't working for him. Now he's on the sidelines. He's calling the plays. It seems to work for Jaden Daniels in Washington. It's a fascinating experiment that there are no always and nevers when it comes to something like that.
In our chat, man, SC is in the chat. It just kind of going off on the same sentiment. He says, I absolutely want him on the sideline. I was watching a moment where we beat the Vikings, and who's Jared Goff talking to on the sidelines? Ben Johnson. He continues, 2 minutes left, crowd roaring in your ear. You have to get in your coach's face and have him yell it at you. And the rest of the chat, they're on that same sentiment. They would like to see a return. And I know if they win week one, I wonder how their sentiments are.
Yeah.
But obviously, as it is right now, you're looking for this team to get some type of cohesion and chemistry.
Here's the other thing it's doing. I mean, you're watching your iPad and the same thing that your quarterback is watching
at the same time.
Right. Now, in fairness to John Morton, I know the people in the chat would like to see him on the sideline. I know I would like to see him on the sideline. It sounds like Braylon would too. It's a lot of it's about where the coach feels most comfortable, first and foremost. But to Braylon's point, and it's an excellent point, Jared Goff's a veteran.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the hand-holding that J.J. McCarthy needs. Right?
Talk to me.
So, but Sean McVay's on the sideline, and you think Matt Stafford needs his hand held? Hell no. It's a preference, I suppose. But the difference is, of course, the head coach is going to be on the sideline.
Stafford needed it until you won that Super Bowl. Let's not forget that. Like Stafford, he benefited from that. He's never had an offensive coordinator that was on the field here in Detroit. I'm not blaming his career for that, but he never had that. And then he gets there, and now he's got this guy. Yeah, he's an 11-year vet at this time. This is year 12 for him. But now he's got this guy that's not only a guy that knows how to, you're too high, let me bring you back down. You're too low, let me bring you up a little bit. He also knows how to be an offensive coordinator. So I think seeing it that way now, he's having that. He doesn't need it now, but he's won the Super Bowl. He's had that experience.
I think one of the best offensive coordinators, one of the best offensive minds this game has ever had is by the name of Tom Moore. Tom Moore actually
yeah.
was on the
Lions.
Lions staff.
He got stolen,
you know,
92.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough to stay there. Of course, neither was Bill Belichick and neither was Don Shula, but I digress. He was on the sidelines
Facts.
when he's with the Colts and Peyton Manning. He was on the sidelines when he was the Patriots and Tom Brady. If that's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. That's all I could say. You know who's really good for all of us? Ven Johnson. Really good.
Yeah, he is, because when crisis hits, they don't panic. They don't even panic. So that's why you got to let Ven fight for you. Now, Ven, V-E-N, let's talk about it. Step 1, verify. You got to gather your details and snap those photos. Step 2, you want to engage. Call your attorney. That attorney should be, you know it, I don't even have to say it. And then step 3 is notify. Let your insurance provider know what is going on, and then Ven Johnson will do the rest. Learn more at VenJohnsonOnLaw.com. Ven Johnson Law. Let him fight for you.
And you guys see this QR code right here. Get a head start right now and scan that. Why? Because if you're looking to upgrade your relaxation game,
this weekend,
then you got to check out the Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. The largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest with top brands for massage chairs like Infinity and Osaki, located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road. Experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan. He is the Wellness Doc, all right, creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. All right, book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan that QR code above my head. You guys see it there. I'm gonna give you guys like 2 seconds to find that. All right, yep, scan that there. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
I wish the guy on the right would give the girl on the left a little bit of his hair.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new face. New focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Baligian. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be than Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions. The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or bust Lions network. The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone! Boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports. So, you're a Detroit sports fan, huh? Well then, make sure you subscribe to all the Woodward sports pages on YouTube. We have Woodward Baseball, Woodward Pistons, and of course, Woodward Hockey. Get breakdowns, updates, and bonus coverage of all things Detroit. So pick your favorite sport and follow along with the best Detroit sports coverage ever made. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. VenFights.com.
Head to WoodwardSports.com woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com.
And fitness, where your fitness is essential. But the best thing about Planet Fitness, man, you can do your own routine and get it popping in that gym. They change machines all the time. They add new weight. They add new movement. They have different rooms. I like to spend a little time in the cardio room. That's how I keep in shape. A little jump rope in here. Got the med balls over here. Got the TheraBands. They got everything you need over there. And then they have the heavy weights as well. If you want to get your swole on, you know what I'm saying? They got the Harrison Smith machine for you. Planet Fitness, man. Also, the gyms are squeaky clean. People there got good energy, and there's over 50 metropolitan and Detroit locations. So pretty much they're everywhere. It's one near you. So pull up on Planet Fitness. Let them get you right.
The heavyweight there with the muscle is a lot different than the heavyweights who are on our airs a little bit later on. But love
they need to hit Planet Fitness.
I love those guys and their passion for sure. We all love football, right? The Ryder Cup is right around the corner. Major League Baseball playoffs are right around the corner. So I know you're going to be getting together with your buddies and you're going to be saying, let's watch it together. That's an awesome feeling. You don't want to get filled up either. Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea is exactly what you and your buddies could use. Real vodka, real iced tea, no bubbles, just a clean, crisp sip that's not going to fill you up all day long. It's only 100 calories, but it's 4.5% alcohol. Perfect for tailgates, perfect for couch gates, perfect for any sport that you and your family or you and your buddies may be watching. So check it out today and get some. Sun Cruiser Vodka, iced tea, and Woodward Sports. What a great combination. But please drink responsibly.
Yeah, we back.
There is an article that really ticked me off reading it yesterday. And it's a quote from Dan Campbell where he did I think it was a radio appearance, I believe it was, and he said, in so many words, it would have been more beneficial if we would have played our young guards a little bit more in the preseason. It's something that you and I had talked about during the preseason because I was inquisitive with you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, man. I mean, why aren't the starters playing any time? They had 4 flipping preseason games. There's only 2 teams that had 4 preseason games, all right? And Detroit starters, outside of Isaac Tesla, and for 24 snaps, Tate Ratledge were playing a lot of snaps in the preseason. Why would that be? And now that Dan Campbell comes out and says, yeah, I guess we could have played them a little bit more, it pisses me off even more.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this comment. I'm not a big fan of Dan Campbell even said this. I think Dan Campbell does
a deep breath before you started that too.
I had to take a deep breath because he does a tremendous job of getting to that microphone, getting to that podium when he's doing interviews, of still stating the facts, staying authentic, and standing on business into the decisions that he makes. The only time I've ever really seen him second guess himself was at the podium after the San Francisco 49ers game. It's the only time I've ever really seen him not stand on the business that was at hand. I don't like this. Like, I don't like that you make this comment. We talked about this. When you're replacing the offensive line that you did, just let this sit here, Shep. All right. Christian Mahogany is now going to be your starting left guard. He got some snaps last year. He played some games, but still, he's not starting in this space. This will be a first full-time season that he's starting. Next to him at the center position is Graham Glasgow, who, though a vet in this league, who, though has starting snaps at the center position, has gone on record consistently and said, my most comfortable position is the right guard position. Move to the right guard position, you have a rookie in Tate Ratledge, who we're all excited about here. The Detroit Lions are excited about. So is the defensive line. They've talked about him tremendously. Penei Sewell has talked about what he can do, what he can bring. But he's still a rookie replacing Kevin Zeiler, who was stout there last year, who was stout there with the Baltimore Ravens. And Graham Glasgow, who's not the center by choice in his own mind, is replacing Frank Ragnow, who's the second best center in the last 10 years. This is what you're replacing. There's key chemistry that you don't get. There's key opportunities. Look at the game. Look at the guy. Look at the missed situations, the miscommunications, and where Graham Glasgow is going one way, Tate Ratledge is going the other way. Meanwhile, you got a guy right there in the hole. Like, these are things that you can get ironed out in the preseason. Like, you can get those things ironed out in the preseason. I'm not saying those guys got to go in there and play 2 whole games.
No,
where they got to go out there and play 2 halves and really dial into it. But you can get 2 series here. You can get 3 series in this game. just so they had a sense of playing together in a game. Because though they practiced against the Dolphins, though they practiced against, who was the second team?
Houston.
Though they practiced against the Houston Texans, they didn't play a game. They didn't make the calls in the game-like flow. It's here's a play, here's a little bit.
Right.
All right, cool. It's the second's turn. They didn't get a chance to get in the flow of a game and when things happen, because that miscommunication, guess what? Could have been ironed out in a couple preseason games, so I don't like that.
And it was pretty evident in the game against Green Bay, and it was admitted afterwards. They also weren't hitting quarterbacks in those dual practices either, okay? Because last time I checked, they had red jerseys on the same color of the shirt that really Kool-Aid is wearing right now. Here's my issue, and I think you leave yourself open to second-guessing. When you make this comment, you leave yourself open to second-guessing, and not that he can't take the heat because he has taken it already. But you bring up a really good point. Tate Ratledge was drafted in the second round, folks. You knew he was going to start.
100%.
Okay? Where he was going to start remained to be seen, but you knew he was going to start. Okay, you draft guys in the first, second, and third round to be starters. They said, in addition to what Dan Campbell mentioned that I didn't really like, it is still saying, they kept saying that Tate Ratledge is eventually they vision him as a center. Help me with this and help our audience with this. If you see him long term as a center, why wouldn't you make him the center right now, knowing full well what you said, Graham Glasgow is more comfortable at right guard? Why wouldn't you do it today?
Respectfully, I don't know. Respectfully, I can't make that comment in full conscience and say this is exactly probably what they were thinking. The only thing that I could maybe say could have been the thing is look at Russell Wilson look at Jackson Dart with the New York Giants. They're not going to start him the first 4 games. They got a tumultuous schedule. They don't want to put him in there in those spaces. But that game 5, they do play against the Saints. It's a much cooler start to play against the Saints. That could be the only thing that I can think about is maybe they get through the first 3-4 games and then move him over. But even that is negligent in a sense. Like, the season is here. The first 6 games are very pivotal for what this season can be for the Detroit Lions.
Especially in this division and conference.
100%. Look, this is Wednesday. This is day 3 since we lost, so I'm not coming up here and I'm panicking. But what I'm saying is this. When you go back to how it ended, questions about, in the offseason, questions into who you're bringing in, questions into positions drafted, questions into who you're not bringing in, questions about moves not made, questions about are the players that you bought in going to be enough, questions about do you want to answer the rush in situation, questions after questions after questions in which you all deny. You say, I have everything. Say we're good. Questions about should we play guys in the preseason. Look, man, we're good. We've done this before. We didn't play guys last year. How did that work out? We didn't play guys before the Chiefs game. How did that work out? This is what the conversation has been all the way until September, whatever the date was, this past Sunday, and you went out there, and everything we asked, it was on display, and it didn't look good. And then after the game, you come to the podium, but later in the week, you do an interview, and in the interview, you say, maybe we should have played these guys in the preseason. Dan, we're trying to place faith in you and these Detroit Lions and stay the course and stay fast with you. But when you make comments like this, on top of all the information that we've consistently asked for the last 6-7 months, it just doesn't look good, if that's fair to say.
I love his honesty. I love how he handles his business. I really do. I just think that's something that you probably don't say out loud. Yeah. Because there were a lot of people, from what I can recall, and you and I were among them, saying, why aren't you doing this? Let's put it this way. Do you believe that football is the ultimate team sport?
Yeah, 100%.
Would you agree that the offensive line requires more cohesion than any other position group combined?
Yes.
Okay. Then
that's why they're always together. They're the only position that are always those guys. Yeah. Like every other position, sometimes the DB hang out with linebackers, receivers might hang. I hang with defensive players. It's just what it is. The offensive linemen are always all together.
If that's the case, why wouldn't you want them to get as much symmetry as you possibly could outside of just practice and the dual practices? Again, I'm not saying play a whole game or even play a full quarter, but are you trying to tell me that it wouldn't have benefited both those young guys? Forget about who they're playing. I'm talking about playing with guys, not playing against guys. Wouldn't it behoove them to have played at least a couple of series from a communication standpoint as much as anything else?
Yeah, I'm 100%. And this goes back into the question of people that are no longer here. Man, AG's his guy. Like, Aaron Glenn is his guy. Is this a conversation he and AG have? Hey, look, Dan, I think you might should play those offensive linemen. They're young guys. You want to get them some reps in there. You want to get them some cohesion. Maybe is this the guy he leaned on for that? And that guy is no longer here. He's not calling AZ before he's playing the Pittsburgh Steelers to ask him that question. So once again, it's just Dan's made some moves and where you're like, oh my God, like, and this is one of them. Like, Dan, you don't come to this microphone and in this interview, you double down on the situation which we've all talked about last season and this season. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah, and the fact that, as you mentioned, some miscommunication, specifically around the goal line, that was the most egregious problem that Detroit had. But their inability to run the football was, and look, more than any other team perhaps in the National Football League, Detroit is going to rely on running the football. Why? Because they need play action.
It's the calling card. They need the play action. He's the number one play action quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
The problem is the physicality. Let's go to the Minnesota Vikings game. They couldn't run the ball early on in the game, but they still were somewhat physical at the point of attack. They were meeting the Chicago Bears defensive line at the point of attack, and eventually Kevin O'Connell made the decision, you know what? This is going to be a Jordan Mason game, and we'll move Aaron Jones into the passing game. They feature him in the running game, and that physicality, now you're moving guys. Now you're seeing Powell's move. Now you're seeing Jordan Morgan get into the second level for the first time in the game. You didn't see any of the physicality with the Detroit Lions offensive line. Like, you weren't hearing the pads pop. At least not on our side. The pads were popping backwards. They were going backwards all game. That's effort. That's intention. Amongst all the mistakes, my coach, Lloyd Carr, used to say there's one thing all the time. A lot of coaches follow suit. I don't care if you make mistakes if you're going full speed. Like, they're not even making mistakes at full speed. So when you make these comments, it's just disconcerting. It's just disconcerting. It's another thing along the lines of
when you see young guys come out like Tate Ratledge say they missed a lot of assignments. We've got to clean that up. That's one of my favorite phrases in sports. We've got to clean that up. It's like, yeah, no kidding, you got to clean it up.
It's true though.
Do you think he's referring to his physical or mental part of the game?
Mental. He's a physical guy. He's a physical player. He's talking about the mental side of things.
Okay, so if that's the case, one would assume that is easier to clean up than the physical side. It's not like he showed that he was getting bull rushed on a regular basis. He was back on his ass the entire time. People are knocking him around like he's a rag doll, right?
Right.
So is it fair to assume from a fan base that this is a little bit easier to clean up than the physical aspect and your inability to do your job?
Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, he had a coach on the field for the past 5 seasons named Frank Ragnow. Named Frank Ragnow. I will go back to that point. Is the mental easier to clean up? Yes. If your center is Frank Ragnow, who is basically helping right and left, you can trust him. The left can look to Frank. Hey, look, man, blah, 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 blah. Right guard, Tate Ratledge can look at Frank Ragnow. Hey, look, this is what I see, man. Real quick, what's the play? Frank can calm those guys down, get them right. It's not necessarily his job, but he will because he was the leader. That's what they've had. Hank has had that on the field for the past 4 years with the Lions. Excuse me, not 5, because Hank's only been here 4. He's had that on the field for the past 4 years, and now he no longer has it. And the guy that he has that's going to ensure that 2 young guys, Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge, are together, are communicated with, is a guy that doesn't even want to play center. And I'm not saying he doesn't want to play it, but it's a guy that doesn't think center is his number one position.
Yeah, you're not saying he's not trying. You're not saying he's trying to excel. You're just saying he is more comfortable at a different position. Maybe that's something else that probably shouldn't have been said. But remember, when he said it, when Graham Glasgow said, it's my favorite position, where was he? He was at right guard. That was at the beginning of training camp. He was at right guard. Tate Ratledge was the center, and everybody was asking Graham Glasgow, what's it like to be back at right guard? And he says, this is my favorite position. It was at that moment, I believe, when I strongly recommended that the Lions go out and explore alignment. Now, who that may be, I said Brandon Scherf at the time because the dude's been around for 10 years. He's 33. He's played 140 games, 140 starts. We've already gone over that. But there are ways to get better without just using your young guys as part of that solution, and you need some depth anyway. I'm uncomfortable right now. I think a lot of Lions fans are. If they happen to lose to Chicago, I don't believe they will. I think they're going to beat the Bears. But if they happen to lose and they perform in a similar way, and it might even be not even be winning and losing, Braylon. It may be one of those, even if you win, how did you look? Were you able to reestablish what you've done before? Create your identity that was your identity over the last 2.5 years. I think there's deep concern going, hey, man, I mean, what are you going to do? What's your solution to this stuff?
It's going to be interesting to see. Kool-Aid, it'd be interesting to see what you have to think about that. At the end of the day, we're going to come up here. We're not saying the season's over. We're not panicking at all, but these are just more concerning moves in a situation with the Detroit Lions where we already had concerns. We've already voiced things. It doesn't look good when those things show up, and they show up in a major way. So what are your thoughts right now with Dan making these comments on top of how last game finished?
Oh, I agree with you guys, man. I was a kid who grew up on seeing our guys go out there and play in the preseason. And I do believe that there's something to it. Shep has preached on it. You've given your personal perspective on it, too. Just to even experience getting hit, experience that feeling of being in a pocket that may be breaking down, or even how to move around in it, because certain things just, like you said, the identity was lost. At least last year we saw that grit component that they talk about, but this year it's different. And with Hank Fraley, compounding with the fact that Tanner Engstrand looks pretty good with the Jets.
Yeah.
Hank Fraley isn't just your offensive lines coordinator anymore. He got to upgrade to run game coordinator as well.
That's right.
And John Morton said he was going to rely on him a lot. I remember when earlier in the season when they sat down with DetroitLions.com and Johnny Moe was talking about, hey, I can't wait to get with Hank Fraley. And so this is a situation where, when you got this stuff kind of in flux, you got some injuries and you got some young players, and now you also have an offensive lines coach getting an upgrade and more responsibilities. That, to me, is where I do believe that there is some right to have some concern about this situation right now.
It is one game.
Right.
Okay, so we really have to reel that in. The thing I'm most proud of with this show is we don't overreact. We don't get too emotional when it comes to certain things. Well, it is one game, and you reminded us this on Monday.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
Struggled against the Rams, needed overtime. 1 for 7 in the red zone in Game 2 against Tampa and lost.
Yeah. 100%, and you're absolutely right. I feel some of the sentiments that Kool-Aid made. One big question, you just talked about adding pieces. You talked about Brandon Scherf, the guy that you wanted to add and what his resume was. You see teams that have won in week 1 already making moves. I think that should be the next part of our conversation, because I think we got 3-3.
It is. You're right.
Should they make a move? And we can talk about the guys when we come back. But people that are winning games or losing close are not liking certain aspects of that team, and they're going out and making moves. Two moves made by you-know-who.
Yeah.
A move in the making by the Dallas Cowboys. A move in the making by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Jabril.
That's what we got to talk about when we get back. Cause
these are names y'all brought up.
Will. That's a professional tease. That's exactly what we're going to talk when we get back. And I would take it one step further. If it doesn't pay off the way you expect it to, not that he's in trouble, but the public perception surrounding one specific person within the organization might change drastically. I'm not saying fired. I'm not saying on the hot seat. I'm not going overboard. I'm talking about fans' perception. Yeah. We'll get to that. But first, Les Stanford. Here's the perception and the reality of Les Stanford, and that is that they're going to take care of you because they've got great stuff on their lot. The inventory is out of sight, and they've got some really good deals that continue to go on throughout the summer, like the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation for $169 a month plus tax, like the 2025 EV SUT Hummer, $599 plus tax, or $699 a month. How do you beat that? You really can't. You can't beat that. You can't beat the service. You can't beat how much they care about your business. Go to Les Stanford Buick GMC today to check out their wide array of inventory, or just go to their website, lesstanford.com.
You also can't beat the service at Jack's, man. They're the best car wash in the state, and we are allowing you to get a chance to get a free car wash. You want to get a free car wash? It's a beautiful day outside. Why don't you get a free car wash? WSN. Text that to 888-522-1729. Again, that's 888-522-1729, and that's WSN. They are the car wash for you. I actually just got a car wash yesterday. Detailed it to the nines. It's beautiful. I'm looking at it right now. I can still see the wax on the tires. That's where you want to be. Free compressed air, free matte cleaning rooms. They got everything you need. I don't have to do the read for you. You know what it is. But that thing, the $29.99, the unlimited plan, you want to get yourself involved in that because that's car washes all month long for the price of $29.99. Car washes, you can still get them in the fall and the winter. Join Jax today.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shaq Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep
Edwards has it. 10-5, touchdown.
on the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep,
Ball looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Dr. Pierce is the guy, and look, I don't want to just come up here and do a read and you guys think everything is cool. Legitimately, I had a shoulder thing going on. My rotator cuff had it a little bit, maybe about 2 months ago. Went up to Doc. I said, Doc, this is what I have going on. Got the diagnosis on the spot. Got the secret sauce. Got what I needed. Got some treatment. Got some rehab. And got myself back on that golf course 2 months ago. Got the same thing going on the right side, so I'm going to see him again. Doc knows what he's talking about. I trust him. So should you, man. He's the Michigan Insider for a reason. Big D Energy's on Tuesdays and the Braylon Edwards Show on Thursdays. He will be here tomorrow. Maybe we'll get him talking about the Commanders and the Green Bay Packers. Look, 248-426-9944. Scan this QR code above my head. Michigan Sports and Spine. Dr. Jeff Pierce is your guy.
Jeff Pierce is part of the family. So is Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning, and they make you part of their family as well. It's a really family-owned business that cares about you and taking care of your heating and air conditioning needs. As a matter of fact, they've been serving Metro Detroit for over 40 years. Reliable service, treating customers like family. and backing up what they offer. And what they offer is heating, cooling, indoor air quality, water heaters, big deal, and whole home generators. So right now, DTE gas customers get a free furnace tune-up through December 1st. Really important. So call Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning today. Here's their phone number, 734, you see it there, 238-3839. That's 734-238-3839. Or scan the QR code above my head and tell them the Braylon Edwards Show sent you.
And we back.
I like teams that never rest on their laurels. Right. They never feel like, well, we've got momentum from one season to the next. Personally, I don't believe there is such a thing. It's just my belief, okay? It's hard to go through an offseason and suddenly pick up right where you left off, okay? I think talent wins. I think coaching is really important. Depth is vital, especially in football, because you know there's going to be injuries, just like there's going to be injuries in starting pitching, and that's vital too. What Philadelphia did a year ago and what they're doing right now is very impressive. They have gone out. They have gained some additional players from their offensive backfield, Tank Bigsby, and they have signed Zadarius Smith to help their pass rush in general. They recognized some things that they needed. Braylon, personally, I wouldn't have given Zadarius Smith $9 million. Kool-Aid would have. I think you might have as well.
For 1 year.
But I'm not giving him $9 million. I'm giving him an incentive-based contract with an opportunity to win $9 million.
To make $9 million. Yeah. I think there are others. Dallas is recognized. We don't have Micah Parsons anymore. We are a pretty good offensive team. We need something. They had Jadeveon Clowney in today.
We were just talking about it. You just brought him up Monday.
Yeah.
You just brought him up on Monday.
Actually, you and I talked about it 2 weeks ago.
We did do that as well.
We brought up a couple of different names, besides Zadarius Smith, and Jadeveon Clowney was one of them. Why not kick the proverbial tires there?
I get tired of having this conversation in Detroit because it always brings up fans and bad energy, and then Brad Holmes comes out of Woodward saying, we got the guys that we want. We made the moves that we want. Like, every time you bring this conversation up, well, who would you have gotten? My issue was this. For 3 years, we wanted them to make moves, and they have not done anything during the season once they realize things. But each year, you see teams still finding guys, still finding moves, and maybe even making massive situations or contracts if they need be. These things we said before the season started were going to be question marks. We've had a game, and you see that they're a real thing. Why is it that a team in the Philadelphia Eagles, who won against the Dallas Cowboys, who are the reigning Super Bowl champs, why are they still adding pieces? They have Saquon Barkley in the backfield, right? And they got Kenneth Gainwell in the backfield, right? But they went and got Tank Bigsby. They got another running back that is a better running back than what they have as a number 2 option that can do some other things. They want to keep getting better. They want to ensure that they are there at the end. They went and got Zadarius Smith. Is he going to be the best defensive end on that team? No, not at all. But will he be serviceable in moments? You're damn right. You're damn right he will be. Like, it makes sense to add. We've been asking them to add players that matter. We've been asking them to add players in which you believe, they brought this guy in. This guy is going to be a move. Not Roy Lopez. And not Roy Lopez. Like, we want moves that you feel will give you extra guys, not just extra players, not just extra bodies. I don't like the extra body comment because that means the guy doesn't matter. I'm talking about players. I'm talking about bringing in some players. There's been a conversation floating around, like, would you sacrifice a first-round pick for offensive line this year? I'm not going that far. But moves need to be made because the thing is, if it looks bad week 2, Shep, if it looks bad week 2, let's just say that. It's not about how good it's going to look when Aleem McNeil gets back. It's not about Tate Rowledge eventually figuring it out. It's about looking at the first 7 games of the season and being 2-5. I'm not saying that's what they're going to be, but
because it could be too late.
If you start off on 2, it could be too late. Mm-hmm. And that's what you run the risk of. It's, all right, we'll figure it out. What if the figuring process, in the meantime, you're getting L after L, you're going backwards, you're not looking the same, you're getting no rhythm. That's what I feel that I'm scared of the most.
And just so people are aware, I mean, we're not suggesting that they're going to lose, but there are ways that you can shore up your team. Every Tuesday, NFL teams bring in available players to work them out. Yeah. I know the Lions do that. So it's not like they're not doing their homework. But you've got to be prepared for this stuff. And here's the danger with what is taking place right now, and again, this is a big if. We're not pushing a panic button here. But if indeed it takes them a while to gain their footing, and because of the things that have been said, and the media and other teams and other scouts and analysts have all said this team needs to address some certain issues, and the Lions have not, you've left yourself wide open for what many fans will use as a reason for ...
Here's the thing, the big thing. I'm going to say this very chill, although I mean some force behind when I say it. 2 years ago, the 2023 season, we believe we would have won the Super Bowl, correct?
Correct.
If they would have made it. We believe the San Francisco game, which ended up not in our favor, if we would have went, we would have beat that team in the Super Bowl, either team. We believe that. Last year, we believed that was a team. Ton of injuries, but we believed that was the year. And we really believed that this was going to be the year. This was going to be the year. So if last year did not happen, if 2 years ago did not happen, and this is supposed to be the year, what are we waiting for in the future would be my question, is if it doesn't look. Well, what are we waiting for until next year?
Well, my question, too, is
now is the moment.
What do you have to give up that you feel so important to protect? A 6th-round draft pick? Is that what you're telling me?
Shoot.
Okay, and then from a financial standpoint, to your point, you and Kool-Aid have kind of convinced me of this, because I think we've gotten way too caught up in Zadarius Smith, like he's the second coming of Richard Dent.
Not. I agree with that.
Okay, it is. I mean, he has become the name where it's just like, hold on a second, I got to take a bow and I got to make the sign of the cross. Zadarius Smith is here. Right. But to your guys' point, it's $9 million if he reaches certain incentives for 1 year. If you're not signing Aiden Hutchinson this year, what is the money in the piggy bank for?
What does it matter?
It doesn't. You know it's going to be a short shelf life.
Pittsburgh still is they're in a space right now where they're about to attempt to get Tyreek Hill. They're about to give up draft picks for him this year and then cut him at the end of the year and let him go do his business. They're trying to win now. Now, their situation is more desperate than ours. I'm not saying that. But this is supposed to be the year. If this is the year, what are we waiting on to make moves, to hold on is more so what I'm saying.
I get holding on for long-term deals with your young players. I do. Yeah. I understand that. And I'm not going to claim to be I'm not going to claim to be this wizard of the salary cap. But where am I missing that they've got a lot of money under the cap? I believe it's 30. Is it close to like $30 million now, Kool-Aid? So. Yeah, $30 million. You're not signing Aiden Hutchinson yet. That's been documented, okay? Mm-hmm. Unless you're working on another deal with Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Brian Branch, all of which I would support, and then maybe we're just not privy to it. What is the holdup of getting another able body who can rotate with either Hutchinson and or Davenport to bring more pressure? Because I got news for you. Your backups ain't doing it. And your backups who are supposed to be your backups aren't available because they're hurt. Hi, Josh Paschal.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know what is jamming up the possibility of pulling the trigger on getting another talented player who can serve a need that you still have yet to answer.
Yeah.
No sacks, man. Very little pressure on Jordan Love. Very little. It's maddening for people.
Yeah, and that offensive line actually had some holes in it, man. They still were able to perform like that. It's one game, but there are just a lot of concerning things. And I think the conversation that Dan Campbell had today just opens up, how you feel about this team, how we feel about this team. And when you see people making moves around it, it's like, I wish the Lions would make a move. Here's a team that has a lot. Here's a team that's in a really good position, a really good space. They have cohesion over the past 4 years. This is year 5 for Dan Campbell. It feels like there's no sense of urgency. Like, it feels like there's no sense of urgency.
Yeah, Wicks during the chat, he was concerned about it as well. And he asked directly, like, yo, is Braylon worried about the guard play on the O-line? I'm like, I definitely know he's worried about the guard play on the O-line. It's just those little things.
He's worried about the center play, too.
Yeah.
And by the way,
center leads the charge. And that's the biggest issue right now is Graham Glasgow. I don't want to overreact game 1, but he was the lowest graded lineman, lowest graded player on offense. He's got to be – he's the guy. He's the mouthpiece for that offensive line. He didn't play well, and guess what? As a result, the line didn't play well. Mm-hmm. Taylor Decker didn't play well. Penei Sewell even didn't play well for him.
Yeah, none of them did.
None of them played well. Yeah. And that's another thing that bothers me about the offensive line. Taylor Decker, I've noticed over the last 2 years, he's an older player. He has a lot of injuries. Once we start getting to week 12, week 13, week 14, how many times does he show up on the questionable list? How many times do you see him get beat towards the end of the season because the season wears on him? That's going to happen as well. The offensive line has always been with the interior defensive line.
It's going to wear you down. No, there's no question about it. Anything else from the chat that you want to make sure we get into before we do a quick break?
Definitely. We just got a $5 super chat
Okay, shout
from
out.
Stephen V, who says, I look at next year's cap. We're like $40 million over. He said we need to roll over more than $40 million from this year. So actually, we don't have that much cap space.
Well, that's first of all, that's next year.
Yeah, that's for next year.
There's going to be certain guys, Alex Anzalone in all likelihood, Marcus Davenport, you wouldn't figure. There are going to be certain guys who will no longer be part of that financial situation.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I'm not saying it's $40 million, so I think he's bringing up a very valid point. We're talking about this year. Okay, and I'm not saying you shouldn't look down the road. I think Brad Holmes has done a wonderful job looking down the road with St. Brown and Kirby Joseph and Penny Sewell and Jamison Williams, and Jared Goff. I get all that, but you and I both know that every team is different every single year. You're looking at it for next year. That's fine with your core players. There might be certain guys. Graham Glasgow might not be here next year. Maybe Taylor Decker won't be here next year. Maybe you. Certain finances are going to be cleared up for next season. We're talking about this season and an opportunity right now to go all in and win it.
Look, two things can be true, and we give Brad Holmes all the credit for all the draft picks and then paying him. Look, I'm tired of giving him credit for, he paid Amon-Ra St. Brown, he paid Jared Goff, he paid J-Mo, 100%. Guys made plays, you got ahead of the curve, you're smart. We give you credit for that. The free agency side and who you bring in and the players you choose to double down on, that is now that's what's in question right now. You can separate the two. What he did in terms of getting ahead of the curves with those players and paying those players and kind of setting a new precedent for the NFL, love it. Beautiful. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about where you stand as it relates to bringing some guys into free agency. And yes, David Montgomery is a hell of a free agency pickup. DJ Reader for most of the season last year, it's a great free agency pickup.
DJ Reed, one corner,
remains to be seen. And that's where we're at. It's bringing in the players that we feel can move the needle in the positions that we need. Like, you could address the center position in the offseason. Then we wouldn't sit here with this.
Yeah.
Like, you could have got a bona fide stud center, paid some money for it, give up a draft pick, whatever, to do, and then we would feel more comfortable. And then Graham Glasgow, guess what? He could have played your right guard. Yeah. Hell, maybe Tate Rallies is your left guard in that situation. I feel like it's always, here's some filler. Here's some players that you got to go through all the internet sites. You got to do all the research to find out when these guys play for the Cardinals and other teams.
Yeah, the Ryan Kelly at center was a name that we had brought up, okay, and it was a 2-year deal. It wasn't going to break the bank for you, but it's just an idea. It's not that we don't have any names associated with these things. Yeah. These are ideas that we've thought of for a while now. I do give him credit because I think he is similar to that of the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves were really smart, and they did something not many teams were doing at the time. I draft Ronald Acuna. I'm going to sign him to a big deal long term, and suddenly it looks a lot better down the road. I'm going to bring in Ozzie Albies, and I'm going to sign him to a long-term deal that eventually is going to make us look really smart. I'm going to do the same thing with Austin Riley. I'm going to do the same thing with Spencer Strider. They were used to doing those things, and it paid off for the Atlanta Braves. What Brad Holmes is doing for the Lions, I truly feel, has already paid off. But your point about free agents is an excellent one. Yeah. Give me the free agent impact player that he has brought in recently. Now, DJ Reader's a good, steady player. DJ Reed, you said, still needs to be decided.
Yeah.
Alex Anzalone has been better than you and I thought he would.
I don't even count Alex Anzalone because Alex Anzalone came in with them in 2021. It's kind of like, look, we just need some guys.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it turned into that.
It wasn't him bringing him in.
Exactly. It turned into that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But that's what people are looking for. I truly believe he is. It's hard for me to say at a watershed moment.
Yeah.
But he is at a period in his career here in Detroit where the fans have literally rolled out the red carpet for him because they believe he has been so good and bringing,
because they know what the passes look like.
Yeah, and brought us so much joy. And you know what my phrase is, folks. I mean, it's in Brad I trust. But I truly feel like the fan base, because they felt their need, and it's legitimate, felt the need for a defensive end, and it hasn't been addressed. felt the need for that in the draft, and it was nearly addressed, and felt the need for somebody on the inside of the offensive line, and it wasn't addressed. And it's almost, I'm not saying he is, but it's almost like, well, I'm the smartest guy in the room. Check yourself. Everything's going to be all right. I hope I eat those words. I hope anybody who uttered that eats those words, because I truly believe in him. But that's the sense I get from the fan base right now.
Yeah, there was some really good offensive linemen available early on in the draft, this past draft. Look, at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. With the angst and the little hostility today for Brad Holmes, I think it's because for this one particular position, we're not going to talk about the offensive line. We're not going to talk about right guard, left guard, center, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to talk about the right rush in. We have been having this conversation for the past 4 years. Yeah. Like, let that sink in. We have been having this conversation for the past 4 years. And then you tried to solve it last year with Marcus Davenport, which in our minds, if I'm being honest, I'll speak for myself, it was not answering the problem, bringing in a guy that has not played, a guy that can't stay healthy, a guy whose best game or best season legitimately was 4 or 5 years past. That wasn't the answer. And then this year, what did you do? You doubled down on same individual, and that's why people have the issue is when you play the game and you tell me Aiden's going to get double teamed. 897 is the guy. Highest odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, started the game, started the season. He's going to get double teamed, right? You got one-on-one. You got to win one-on-one. I didn't even know you were on the field.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had anybody on the right side of the line, of the defensive line. That's the issue. Here we are yet again having that conversation in a year in which we're supposed to be the team going to the Super Bowl to represent the NFC in a battle maybe with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're talking about the right end again.
And the team that won the Super Bowl and got more pressure on Patrick Mahomes than perhaps he's ever felt addresses their defensive line after week one.
Fans are tired of hearing about Howie Roseman. We can't stop talking about him because he keeps doing things that directly reflect us.
Yeah. And he's really damn good at it. And by the way, I'm tired of hearing about the double team with Aiden Hutchinson too. Okay, as much as I like him and I do. I love him, but last time I checked, Myles Garrett's getting double teamed. Micah Parsons got double teamed. Okay, Max Crosby gets double teamed. Trey Hutchinson, T.J. Watt, they get double teamed. All right, he's been double teamed a lot in his career. He went through it, I'm sure, at Divine Child. He went through it at the University of Michigan. He's done it with the Lions. He's proven that he can beat it. It's not an excuse. Let's stop with that.
Michael Strahan said one of the coldest things of all time as it relates to double teams. He said legit. He started off the season balling, got a couple sacks here and there when it was one-on-one. So what do teams do? They adjust. They start double teaming. They started getting chips in this nature. Goes to his defensive line coach and he said, man, what do you guys want me to do? They're out there double teaming, man. I can't beat the double team. He said, son, that's when you make the real dollars. He said, that's when you really are one of those guys when you can beat the double team. He said, anybody can go out there and get a sack. Hell, I can go out there and get a sack. This is what his coach told him.
Yeah.
He said, but when you can beat the double team, he said, that's when you get paid. He said, do you think Lawrence Taylor complained about beating double teams?
Reggie
Do you think
White?
Harry Carson? He was talking about all those guys with the Giants. Yeah. That inspired him, and then he went out there and started beating the double teams. I agree with you 100%. When you are best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, what do you think teams are going to do?
Let me tell you something.
Double, triple, and quadruple.
If Kool-Aid knows it, if Braylon knows it, if I know it, if the young ladies at Lady Jane's know that he's the best defensive player on the team, you don't think the other DC or OC knows it? Holy crap. Come on, man. Yeah. The offensive coordinator it knows exactly what's happening.
No,
the offensive line coach for the opposition knows that's the best guy. Yeah. Circle him. When you played, you probably got double-teamed a lot. By the way, guys, before we break the huddle, we got to double-team one. Yeah. We got to do something about it. That's what you do against the opposing team's best player. What were you going to say, Kool-Aid?
No, I was just going to say, it's real when Braylon gets to tweeting about it, man. Look, we got it up there on the screen for you, man. We've had it. It's real. He's been talking about this stuff for some time. He's been consistent. And we saw Braylon, honestly, probably get a little bit spicy, too, because he said, you know what? I'm tired of this Detroit stuff, man. The Detroit bias. He's like, I like the Lions. That's the team, obviously, we know he grew up with here in Detroit. But he wants to keep it real. And I'm glad that it's not just from a place of emotion, but it's from also a place of you having been there and having done that. And I think that ultimately matters. And John Ellison with the $9.99 Super Chat says, correct me if I'm wrong. He says, Frank Ragnar. First of all, thank you for the Super Chat, man. $9.99 I think is the highest on the day so far. He says, correct me if I'm wrong. Frank Ragnar wanted to renegotiate his contract. We didn't want to. Then less than 1 week later, Frank Ragnar retired.
I didn't hear anything about him wanting to renegotiate his contract. You may know more about that than me. I thought it was a health issue with his foot, but was it
I don't recall that, but it's a good point that we'll probably have to research a little bit more. If it is that makes this organization that has dealt with an unbelievable amount of adversity, whether it be Bobby Lane in 1958 being traded to Pittsburgh and saying you won't win for 50 years, whether it be the death of Chuck Hughes on the field, going back to the huddle after running a route, whether it be Mike Utley or Eric Andlusek or Reggie Brown, this would be troubling to me. It would be troubling because Barry Sanders left on a bad note. Calvin Johnson left on a bad note. I don't recall that with Frank Ragnow. I'll have to do a little bit more digging in that. I thought it was strictly a health issue.
Yeah, I think it's strictly a health issue as well. Like Big Frank's one of those. He's a Dan Campbell guy. Like if his foot was okay, I'm pretty sure you would have saw him this season. I'm pretty sure we would have saw him this season. But it's one of those things where you start to look at little things, and we'll have more conversation on Monday. But you just hope that the Lions aren't too full of themselves. You just hope that Dan Campbell hasn't reverted back to thinking he never thought he was the smartest.
Yeah, I never worried about that, and I hope I don't have to. I truly believe. I always find it very interesting. We love the shiny new car. We love the wide receivers. We love the running backs. We love the corners. We love the quarterbacks. We really don't appreciate or take note of the offensive linemen until we kind of miss them. And I think a lot of people are missing Frank Ragnow right now. When we come back,
our chat is letting us know that they actually do remember that.
Okay.
So I'm telling them if they got it, put that link in the chat. Shout out to them. They're trying to keep us on toes.
Does it bother you too now you have situations like this? I guess now we're just open up all type of questions.
Anzalone too.
That's what we talked about. The Anzalone
well, yeah,
situation.
but they fixed that.
They fixed that.
Somebody asked him about the contract. He answered it. I don't think there was drama there. I wouldn't call that drama, would you?
I wouldn't call it drama.
Okay.
I would ask the question, when you move up to draft a guy in Giovanni Manu, is that a situation where you're not looking like,
Yeah, that's a good question. They're trying to get him ready, I would assume, to be the heir apparent for Taylor Decker. Right. I think that's a fair assumption when you do what you've done, and so far in camp they've worked on it as well. When we come back, we will definitely talk about something Dan Campbell said regarding the Bears game. Do you feel the same way? It'll be an interesting conversation, and we always welcome your point of view from the chat here on the Braylon Edwards Show. But first, this from BlackRock.
Looking for them plans that sizzle? Let BlackRock be your way. In fact, this Sunday is my grandma's birthday, and guess where we're going?
Birthday. Hey,
Grandma Mary.
Happy birthday.
Happy early birthday, Grandma Mary. We are going to BlackRock. We're going to the one and know. But look, man, we believe in what we say. This product is dope. And also, why don't you pull up on BlackRock Bar and Grill and mention Woodward Sports? You get 20% off the deal. Don't miss their daily deals like Tasty Tuesdays, Thursdays, Steak and Scampi, and then also Sunday they do the brunch and the Sunday sips. Plans to sizzle, the place to sizzle is BlackRock above the rest.
Hey, and tell the people they can get a fresh cut, Mr. Matt Shepard.
Well, it's the place, of course. Where else are you going to go? You're going to go to Lady Jane's. I mean, believe it or not, this place is open 7 days a week. I know a lot of people will be like, "Are you kidding me?" No, because it's convenient for you. 10 to 8, 7 days a week. And really easy. I just saw a guy park his car, literally walked in, signed in, and within about 30 seconds, he was at one of the sinks and he was getting his hair washed and ready to be trimmed and ready to look a lot better than he did when he walked in these doors. So Lady Jane's is where it's at. Very convenient and very efficient for you because they value your time just like you do. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com. Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Baligian. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be than Woodward Woodward Sports, live all game day. Go Lions! Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shep Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep
Edwards has it. 10-5, touchdown.
on the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep,
Ball looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network. Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
When you think of Detroit pizza, what do you think of? B2. I think of that right there, Buddy's Pizza. It is so damn good. It created the category Detroit pizza, and it's been around since 1946 with 22 locations. In our great state, they're going to be able to find one near you. Take advantage of it. It is the cornerstone of Detroit pizza for 79 years. Save 10% off your entire order by using this promo code 10MEAL. That's 10 MEAL. Find a location near you by going to buddiespizza.com. It is worth it.
And fantasy jerks. If you guys aren't tapped in, then you need to be paying attention to this right now. Fantasy football, it isn't just a game. It's a war. And if you're rolling into a battle with weak takes and outdated sleeper picks, you're going to lose. That's why you need the Fantasy Jerks, a show where expert fantasy football advice meets real talk and weekly laughs. Join Anson, Brandon Cass, that's not Brandon Katz, Brandon Cass, and weekly special guests like fantasy football expert Theo Griminger for everything you need to dominate your matchup. Win your league, talk your smack, be a jerk with Fantasy Jerks, streaming live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. only on the Woodward Sports Network.
I actually won my week 1 fantasy. I can't believe I won. I was down big, but the Bears defense.
I don't want to talk about it. Stop looking at me, Braylon.
The Bears defense gave me 6. That was huge. That return for 6. And the touchdown at near the end of the game for both Minnesota and Roma Dunce late. Remember that? DJ Moore gets hurt. That put me over the top. I made an unbelievable comeback.
Unbelievable. Kool-Aid had me by like 90 points.
90?
Had by like 90. Because my team was horrible. Like, my team was horrible. I came back towards the end. I had Lamar Jackson. I had Christian McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson. That got me going in the right direction. I closed the gap with some other stuff. And going into the game Monday night, I needed 14 to win.
Who did you have?
Aaron Jones, and it was not looking good at all. They couldn't even run the ball with Aaron Jones. They moved him to wide receiver. He scores a touchdown. And then they gave him that one run the next drive, and he ran for like 9 yards.
That was it for me, too.
The champ is here, brother.
Because I had Aaron Jones, too.
You did, too?
He and Bijan Robinson are my backs, yeah. And Bijan Robinson is so damn good.
I just added a back, too. Like, my backfield was trash. I had
Tank Bixby? Did you just add him?
Nah,
like
I wasn't fast. So this is my first time playing in this league where they give you cash and you make bids on players.
Oh, okay.
So I was a little mad. I didn't put any money in the bid, so I didn't get the players I wanted. But I picked up Taylor Algiers as a backup third running back, and then I got the 49ers defense.
So that might be the only time that Kool-Aid was not smiling.
He still was smiling.
Up by 90 points. Kool-Aid, you can't close the deal. What is happening?
Bruh.
You're complaining about coaches, and you can't put a football team on the field that when leading by 90 can't take it home?
Yeah. I'm still speechless. This smile, see, my smiles, they mean different things. They have their own expressions. This one is, I have no idea what to say for this one. Yeah. Coach Kool-Aid, though, we will be back in the saddle for week 2.
My team
and somebody is listen. We're taking out all the aggression. We're gonna bounce back, Detroit Lions style. We don't lose back to back.
Okay, 4th time that he's gone third person since I've been working here.
You're back with us.
Dan Campbell said this the other day. Going up against the Bears, we're gonna win this game. We have to. Now, does that lead you to believe his thought process is this is a must-win? By saying that, we're going to win this game, we have to, does that make you think he feels it's a must-win against Chicago?
Yeah.
Do you concur with that?
Yes, I do.
Why?
First of all, your head man just said it's a must-win. Like, let that sink in. The head man that saw the same game that we saw on Sunday, that has watched it 4 or 5 times, that has the same questions on his mind, that is now second-guessing himself in terms of the moves that he should have made. Now you're telling me that to start the season, you have Chicago Bears with Ben Johnson as their head coach. He's coming back home to Detroit, the place where he got it rocking and rolling, and you drop this game to Ben Johnson after playing like you played against the Green Bay Packers. This game isn't about how it looks. This game is about a win. This isn't how you can look really good in the loss. Because if you look really good, you should beat them. Because I don't think Chicago can look really good and beat you if you look really good, if that makes sense. So this is a must-win. And also, you go 0-2 in the division. You go 0-2 in the conference. And then you know what you're facing the week after that. Don't give me you're going to figure it out in Baltimore if you can't figure it out with these first 2.
Well, okay, so there's a couple of things there, and I think those are all astute points. Chicago has to be feeling just as antsy about this game. Everybody knows since 1990, 25% of the teams that start 0-1 reach the postseason. Teams that start 0-2 make it 12.2% of the time. This is since 1990 now. Teams that start 0-3,
it's 5 of them.
It's 2.5%.
In history of the NFL, it's 5 of them.
Yeah, since 1990. And one of them was the Detroit Lions, as we told you on Monday. Here's the thing that I'm struggling with, so I need your help a little bit.
Okay.
You guys and everybody in the chat. As bad as the Lions looked against Green Bay, and they did, why do I automatically think that there's no way they could beat Baltimore? I know. But before you get in the chat, let me just say this. I think Baltimore's really good. I think I picked them to go to the AFC Championship game. I picked them to win their division. I think Lamar Jackson's fantastic. I think John Harbaugh's a really good coach. I love Kyle Hamilton. We've gone all over all this stuff. They gave up 41 points, lost a 15-point lead in the 4th quarter, and surrendered 22 points in that quarter. I thought they were a really good defense. Now, Buffalo's offense is better than Detroit's.
Right.
But I'm trying to figure out why I automatically feel that there's no way anybody could beat Baltimore in Baltimore because Lamar Jackson's never lost to an NFC team before. No NFL team has ever done what they did against Buffalo. How many times do I have to learn that what I think doesn't always come to fruition?
Yeah. I would start here. Don't get so excited about this game and don't ask that question because that's not what it's going to be. The reason why you should feel like you're going to lose is because Baltimore's a much better team than the Detroit Lions. They've shown that in week 1. And if you want to bring up the 41 points that they gave up to the Buffalo Bills, congratulations. You gave it up to the second-best quarterback in the NFL playing for the team that many people think will represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And they did a tremendous job with some help. They did a tremendous job in staying the course, and Josh Allen was simply – he was Josh Allen that night. But that's Josh.
And they scored 40.
Right, and that's Josh Allen. That's not Jared Goff.
Yeah,
that's not
that's
this
right.
Detroit Lions team.
Right.
And the NFC thing, they have not – the NFC team has not beat Josh Allen. It looks a lot different when you see it in person. And when the Lions went there last time, they got a chance to see it in person to the tune of 38-6.
You mean Lamar Jackson? not
Lamar,
Josh
excuse me,
Allen.
yeah,
that's
100%.
right. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So you don't look like yourself last year. You don't look like anything right now that we believe is good. We need you to figure it out going into week 2. That's the team we're talking about playing against this Baltimore Ravens team, who was one fumble by arguably top 15 running back, top 10, top whatever you want to put him at running back of all time. That's the mistake that led to that. So it's not going to happen too much more. Like he also ran for 200 yards.
Yeah,
and 2 touchdowns. And Lamar was pretty much flawless almost that night too.
And I would argue really close to advancing in the AFC last year, if not for a really sure-handed tight end in Mark Andrews making 2 mistakes.
Also,
so I agree. Yeah.
And Derrick Henry did that against a damn good Buffalo Bills defense.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson did that against a really good Buffalo Bills defense.
So answer me this then. The Lions defense,
right.
I know we didn't like it.
Just remains to be seen.
Yeah, because Green Bay scored on the first 3 drives, okay. But overall... Would you
throw that in?
No, well, I know, but it was 17 points in the first 3 drives.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. It was ugly. I didn't like it either.
Still mad.
But they did settle down. There's something on which to build there. Isn't that fair to say?
It's definitely something fair to say. One thing I want people to stop doing, stop mentioning the Alex Anzalone dropped interception. Because when he caught it, where he caught it, he would have been down. They were on the 30-yard line, and there was nothing about how the Detroit Lions played in that game that said they would have scored a touchdown.
Yeah, or gone 70 yards.
So please stop with that conversation.
Also, that was a really hard. I'm not saying he shouldn't have caught it.
No,
okay,
that's a tough play
but
for
look,
a linebacker.
look, you had great hands. There's a reason guys play in the defensive backfield. And there's a reason there are linebackers, and they're not wide receivers. Now, Alex Anzalone would never be confused.
He would have been a tight end.
Yeah.
If he would have made that catch, that Alex Anzalone should be a tight end.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a catch.
And how many corners have you known or played against who have unbelievable hands? Like, Dre Bly had really good hands. Charles Woodson obviously had great hands, but he also played some offense. Most of those guys, part of the reason they're corners, they don't have wide receiver hands.
The wide receiver, the cornerbacks that can catch like that or athletic like that, that are dialed in like that, it's crazy. They all used to play baseball. Deion played baseball. Dre Bly played baseball. Charles Woodson played baseball. Rod Woodson played baseball. Ed Reed played baseball. Like all these guys that can catch and that are like that, they see it differently. These guys played baseball growing up, so that adds to the element. They just chose defense. Some of these D-backs, they run 4-2 and they chose defense because they can't catch. They can't catch.
Right.
That's why they chose defense. Beat them up, ball.
Yeah. It's no different than, with all due respect, a lot of wide receivers who
they don't like contact.
Yeah, they can't tackle.
Yeah.
You know, contact, I'm not sure. I mean, a lot of you guys, I mean, you're always getting hits. You don't want it, but you're bigger. Wide receivers are so much bigger than they were in the past. Even Harold Carmichael, really big, but he wasn't big like you. He was tall, but he wasn't big like you.
I don't know if this makes sense in the mind, but this is how I phrase it. There's one thing to tell me that if I run a slant route, Ray Lewis is going to hit me or have an opportunity. That's cool. I catch the ball. I'm a big guy. I can take the contact. There's another thing if you tell me that I got to meet Derrick Henry in the hole and win that battle because I don't want no parts.
Yeah.
I don't want no parts. I'm sorry.
I don't know many people who do. He is a massive human being.
I'd rather, isn't that crazy? I'd rather get hit by Ray Lewis, pause, than meet Derrick Henry.
Pause for effect.
You know what? I like that. Pause for effect. I won't even say the second comment. But yeah, that's tough, man.
So we think it is. You think it is a must win based on those types of numbers that I just gave. 0-2, you start 0-2, it's 12% and change, and
Also,
if 0-3, it's 2.5%.
Shep, also you watched what you watched what the Chicago Bears did at home in that fourth quarter. Like, yes, can they clean it up like the Lions can clean it up? Yes, but you saw that team fall apart to a rookie quarterback. Like, you saw that team fall apart to a rookie quarterback, great offensive coordinator, but still JJ had to go out there and figure some of those things out.
Yeah.
And they lost to that guy. They fell apart to that guy. They had the lead going into the fourth quarter. They had the rhythm. They were dancing. Everything was cool. Everything was up. And then it wasn't. That's the team that's coming here, coached by the guy that you guys hate. That's the team that's coming here this weekend. If you do not win this game, it is going to be a serious conversation.
Yeah, because you'll be 0-2 on the season, but you'll also be 0-2 in the division, and that is big. So one of these teams, they're going to have to deal with that. The other battle that I have with myself, and Kool-Aid always tells me, stop arguing with yourself. The thing that I battle with a lot is when I see Chicago, I know their defense was pretty damn good a year ago.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty damn good this year.
It is.
And a big reason is, even though he was a rookie, or if making his first career start in J.J. McCarthy, the one thing he does that Jared Goff doesn't do,
runs.
He moves.
He
can move. So therein lies part of the problem that Chicago had with Minnesota that they will not have against Detroit.
This is why Kevin O'Connell is also such a good. This is why he's also such a good motivator and head coach. Because did you see early on in that game, JJ had about 4 opportunities where he could have got busy with the first down with his legs. But he waited to the last second. He really was waiting because he wanted to prove he can do it in the pocket. He was really staring at it. JJ, if you can run, run. I guarantee you that's what Kevin O'Connell told him. JJ, you got to run. He legitimately got tripped up 3 times where if he doesn't get tripped up by the shoelaces, he's 9, 10, 15 yards. Yeah. You saw that in the second half, especially in that fourth quarter. You can see Kevin O'Connell told him run, but you're right. This league is trending, and we talked about that yesterday. You got to have, like, unless you're non-mobile quarterback, unless your non-mobile quarterback is Matt Stafford with Sean McVay, unless it's who's the other one? Aaron Rodgers, who's still trying to prove that he can do it despite the 4 touchdowns.
Would you say Justin Herbert would be in that conversation?
He can move.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert's big self can run. He's tall. It looks different, but he can run. Even Trevor Lawrence is for 6'5".
Yeah.
He runs.
Yeah. Brock Purdy helped San Francisco a lot.
He beat Detroit
legs.
with his feet.
Yeah.
He beat Detroit. He beat Green Bay with his feet.
Second half, man. You are 100% right about that.
Yeah, the feet. Like if you're
out of nowhere,
Purdy.
Kool-Aid. Oh man,
I was in the middle of doing other stuff, and Bray just brought it right to my.
If
my
you
memory.
don't have one of those offensive lines like we had last year, like the Philadelphia Eagles have, it's tough for quarterbacks like Jared Goff when it breaks down because there's no. You saw the Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons tracked him down the hole in terms of the backside tackle. It's just tough for a guy like Jared Goff, especially when
it gets back to our conversation about the old line. It comes full circle. What else we got there, Kool-Aid, from any super chats or chats in general that you'd like to make sure we get before we get to the mailbag?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There were a couple more super chats that came in. The people, they were getting more and more active as the show went on. Shout out to you, chat family. But let me see here. John?
Before you Dan Campbell just guaranteed a win. Like, and we just kind of glossed over it. We talked about it. He guaranteed a win after week 1. Has he ever guaranteed a win? Has he ever said, we're going to win this one?
I don't recall that. I really don't. I mean, we're going to be prepared, yeah. We're going to give it everything we got, absolutely. I don't recall him saying we're going to win this game. We have to.
This is, what do they tell you not to create? This is locker room. This is bulletin board material. How
far does that go?
You said what?
Honestly, how far does bulletin board material truly go?
We're going to win this game. We have to. What? Y'all going to win this game? No, y'all not. No, y'all not. I'm talking about if I'm in Chicago. What? Y'all going to win this game? But I would appreciate, at least on our side, he's already saying we have to. So that means they're coming into the game, in my mind, pressing. That means they're coming to the game already like, man, when you say we have to do something, then that means there is no alternative. The alternative is failure, which you're scared of. I don't like this comment, man. If I was Chicago, I would be licking my chops.
You got some negative vibes right now, don't you, about what's going on?
It just doesn't sound right now. On top of what I saw this past weekend, it just doesn't sound right. I told you, I am a feel guy. This does not feel right. It doesn't feel good. I don't feel confident in what this week has been so far.
So the word that comes to mind for me is desperation, and that's how I feel right now. And I shouldn't feel that way.
And not
in week 2. I shouldn't feel that way at all. And let me just, for the record, who gives a crap how I feel? It's more about how the players feel. Yeah. It's more how the coaches feel. I doubt they feel desperate. They're not feeling how I feel.
I know.
But this is what I've learned from working with you there is a certain feel in certain situations.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm feeling right now with some of the things that have been said and some of the things that haven't been done that most people would have agreed should have been done, right?
Yeah. One of the things that was said last night by Amon-Ra St. Brown on that podcast, him and Roma Dunizé got to talking a little bit about, Ben Johnson. And, yeah, I wonder how you took that comment.
Well, I heard Amon-Ra St. Brown talk about, Ben. Look, it didn't start out great when Ben Johnson was the OC either. There was no, hey, listen, we're going to be able to do this and we're going to be able to do that, and look at this trick play and look at that trick play. It wasn't like that at all. He feels like people are freaking out way too early. He's probably right. Alex Anzalone said it after the game too. He was saying, listen, you guys are questioning whether or not we have two coordinators who can make calls, make the proper play. You don't know football, okay? So that's what tells me right there that these guys still understand and are confident in not just their ability but their teammates' ability.
What did you think about what Amon-Ra St. Brown said, Kool-Aid, as it related to Ben, you ain't like that. Stop acting like that. Basically alluding that Ben Johnson wasn't the head coach. He was
turned on a different persona.
Exactly.
Hi, Brian Kelly at LSU. Yeah.
Oh, hey, the family. 100%. Do you think it was playful banter? Because his podcast gets. I told you his podcast. I told you about him. Do you think it was playful banter with a fellow rival ahead of the game, or do you think that was Amon-Ra throwing a little shade in there, like, man, he's not a coach, or he's not a head coach?
Part of me feels like it's a little bit of that playful banter, because I know that he did say he and Ben Johnson, they have a relationship, that they're cool with each other. Even when the fans were getting all crazy about it, he was like, y'all chill out, man. But to a degree, I do believe that Amon-Ra St. Brown, he believes in himself. He believes in his talent. He believes in his team. He believes in Jared Goff. And so from that standpoint, I don't think there's any aspect of him who's going to believe that Ben Johnson is who made them.
Yeah, but I do. There's an undertone there.
Yeah.
And the undertone is this, that while here, he was a certain kind of guy. Suddenly he becomes a head coach, and the persona changes, or the type of talk that he gives is completely different. Remember, Amon-Ra St. Brown is in that offensive room every single day with Ben Johnson. Sure, he's separate with the wide receiver room, but eventually they all come together. The running backs come together, the offensive line, the tight ends, the quarterback, they all come together, and Ben Johnson is like, okay, here's what we've got going. It's not too dissimilar from a hitters meeting, for example, which the Tigers will have for about 7 minutes prior to a game. Everybody's in there. So everybody is in there when it comes to that offensive room, and they're used to seeing Ben Johnson act a certain way. Now suddenly Ben Johnson is acting a different way. Come on, did you really change just because of the head coaching label? Please.
Oh yeah, and and from that in that regard, that's what I said. I think that there could be some playful banter, because Amon-Ra St. Brown is a troll. Like, I remember him still going out in front of the Chicago Bears fans after Bears at draft night, and was like, "Look at this energy," and just put the thumbs down. But I do believe that, like I said, Amon-Ra is a guy who believes in what his squad is, and I wouldn't expect anything less of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I wouldn't expect him to believe, you know what? Oh man, we're shaking in our boots now. What are we gonna do? We're tripping over our own feet. I do believe he thinks that they have enough of the IQ, they have enough of that grit, that physicality, that mentality, and that they're just, we're gonna hit our stride.
I would say taking a dig at a fan base and a former coach are two different things. First and foremost, and second of all, even though we think it's tongue-in-cheek, I think there's some undertone of true feelings there.
I agree. I agree. Side note, getting back to what you said about the Jets real quick before we get to the mailbag, is you talked about them not necessarily looking so good either. I got to say, man, from what I saw in training camp to what I saw in that game, and, they lost. They gave up the points in the end. It's going to happen sometimes. It happened to them. But they look better. They look more down in. Like, this is Justin Fields we're talking about at quarterback. Look at what his numbers. Okay, and who's his offensive coordinator? Like, that was one of those things I'm like that looked like something.
He wasn't
their
supposed
offense
to get away.
Looked like something. Gave
former Lion guy.
Here's that feeling. Exactly. Here's that feeling. It gave me a feeling like, okay, I can trust this offense enough. It's with that defense.
Or Tanner Engelstad says, you know what? I really like
man.
what this guy brings to the table. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use all his talents.
Meet them where they are. That's the best thing I've ever heard. That's what Shane Steichen said about Jalen Hurts. Everybody was trying to turn Jalen Hurts into a passing quarterback, a pocket passer, prolific quarterback, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, we saw at Oklahoma. We saw at Alabama. This is who he is.
Yeah, this is why we drafted him.
So let's create space around him, and that's what Shane Steichen talked about. That's how you have to operate. Meet people where they are.
That.
And it seems like that's what they've done. You got Breece Hall. You got a hell of a backfield.
Yeah.
And they're using that.
I love that. It's a great example.
Yeah.
Do we do that with Jared Goff? Meet him where he is? We know. Why do we expect him? Like, Micah Parsons is running after him.
Yeah.
Did you really think Jared Goff was getting away? Hell no, you didn't think he was getting away.
Up
all right?
until this game, the Lions have met him where he is, and that was getting him the best offensive line in football.
Thank you.
That was them meeting him where he was at.
That's where I was going.
100%.
That's what I think you call an alley-oop.
Yeah.
And a put down.
And he jammed it right through the hoop.
Definitely.
And one. Count that baby in a foul.
Shout out to the Hall of Famer, George Blaha.
What else we got?
There is a super chat that came in earlier in the show, and I was going to save it for this time. It's from Michigan Go Blue in the chat, $4.99 super chat. He says, what does Shep think about Michigan's football coach right now? Is he worried that they have lost their physicality and that smash identity?
No, absolutely not.
Ooh, no hesitation.
I think they played a really good defensive team, okay? And no, I'm not worried about it at all. I tried the best I can to not overreact. I think if I was to worry about something specifically with Michigan, it would be their wide receivers. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I think they're missing. It's a program that has had some of the best wide receivers in college football in recent memory, but they've had big bodies. Guys who can go up and get stuff. I don't really see that. They were, don't kid yourself, they were missing Klein a lot at the tight end spot.
Yeah,
he's a playmaker, okay? I love tight ends, always have. But they miss, and I'm not saying this because, Braylon's, it's his show, but they miss that type of player, and they've got to get back to getting those types of players. Now that they're becoming more of an offensive line school, which is great, they've got a really good running back. They've got an outstanding quarterback, we think, as he progresses. I think their defense has a lot on which it can build, but they need a big play wide receiver. They need a big body kind of guy.
Speaking of Michigan, Graham Mason, who was there the last couple of years, he also plays for the Cleveland Browns. So there's another defensive line that you got to see. Myles Garrett.
I didn't see that. I focused on Will Johnson over there. So Mason Graham was good?
What?
Yeah.
That defense was nice, man. One of Will Johnson. The Lions have put out some players. There's on the Go Blue page, they do highlights each week from all the guys that went to Michigan. You saw that as well. Yeah. Hey, Lions, the Michigan Wolverines, they had a good week as it relates to NFL guys, former alums.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it's been an impressive run to the NFL for sure. I don't know if Graham Glasgow can.
How did he get out the state?
How did who?
Will Johnson, man.
Well,
got him out the state.
Yeah, he was injured a lot last year, as you know, supposedly.
Was that the Nick Bosa injury? We're like, game 2, I got an ankle. I'm healthy by 4, but I chose to sit out because I don't want to ruin the stock. Plus, Will Johnson, that Michigan team wasn't good.
I'll tell you this, man. He was really good at Grosse Pointe. Was it Grosse Pointe South or North? South. Really good at Grosse Pointe South. I called one of those games, and going to Michigan, he was an impact player right away.
Yeah, he was.
Like I truly believe he's one of those guys who could play a little offense if they needed him to. I think he's that skilled.
Here's an interesting one in the chat here, okay? Joe just says, if we can establish the run and give Goff time, that's way more valuable than whoever the F is calling the plays. I just wanted you guys' perspective on that because
thank you, Joe.
We're all talking about Johnny Morton. But he does believe that this might fall at the feet of one Brad Holmes.
Don't those go hand in hand, though? Yeah. John Morton's ability to figure out how to have a better run game and make sure he's putting his players in the best position they can to succeed. Look, we've said this about the offensive line. Tate Ratledge, look, it was needed, right?
Yeah.
Would we all agree with that? Okay. Kevin Zeitler leaves. Oh. It was needed. He was one of the better offensive linemen and arguably the best conference in America, all right? And as a second-round pick, he's going to play. I think it's the other two spots that a lot of people wondered about, okay? It's the center position. It's the left guard. you drafted a guy, Christian Mahogany, who's a massive human being and has earned the opportunity to at least compete for it, and they felt like he won it. Yep. So I just think what people have a bigger problem with is how come they're not better right now? What were they doing that didn't allow them to be as cohesive and communicate with one another as they needed to?
Here's a question that can't get answered, but I would wonder what the answer would be. What would Ben Johnson look like with the same offensive line and the same team? What would his offense look like compared to what Johnny Morton's is? Because to your point, you're right. You have to be able to protect the quarterback. You have to be able to not have the MAs and the moments in the red zone. But can you coach out of these situations? Can you coach around these situations? That would be the question that we can't answer, but it would be an interesting one.
MA's missed assignments, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else from the mailbag before we say goodbye on a Wednesday afternoon?
Let me see here. Yeah, there is one more here. Oh, Dante151.
Dante.
And we got to read his, whether he's sending in a super chat. He's a super chat king or not.
He's a board member.
Yeah. He says, I don't want to ask this, but
I'm going to.
He's going to. But if the season for the Lions goes down the drain, could you see them drafting a quarterback to replace Jared Goff? I really hate asking this. I really do.
I appreciate how you phrase that and how you say you really do, because once I heard it, I was like, okay, this is definitely something I hate asking, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Yeah. The fact that we're talking about the draft next year is very similar to what the Lions used to be. So that's a cautionary tale. But, yeah, at the end of the day, let's say somehow it went off the rails like that. Sure. The only problem is what does this draft present as it relates to the quarterback position?
Yeah. So
this is not a good quarterback draft.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I would argue this. I don't care if they win the Super Bowl. They're going to have to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Not that you're not drafting a guy to replace him next year.
You can't go with Kenny Allen.
Just some housekeeping.
You can't keep going this route. Okay.
Man,
so you're going to do it anyway. Now, to your point, who's available, who's worth a damn to draft, and where, that remains to be seen. We've got to let a college season play out.
Yeah.
But I think you're doing it anyway, and I think it's really important that you do it. And yes, I said do. Thanks to Kool-Aid, of course, the man, Braylon Edwards,
Would
and
you
to
take
you
Trevor Lawrence
for all the trade for Trevor Lawrence. Not that contract. Thank you very much. We're back with you tomorrow 2 to 4 every Monday through Friday on Woodward Sports, the Braylon Edwards Show. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Happy birthday, Miley.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Slip that in there.
Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep.
Edwards has it. 10-5, touchdown.
On the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Lamar looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
Where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network.